Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Danimal Weekly 15. I am Dan Andrews, also known as the Danimal from thedanimalhouse.com, no longer Integrity Athletics. Before I get into the topic of the week, I want to just talk about we're in this kind of intermission phase between what sites. If you've noticed, the integrityaathletics.com is down right now. It's because I'm working on the new site, thedanimalhouse.com. It's almost done. It's basically done. I'm pretty happy with how it's shaped up in such a quick, such a short amount of time. But there's a couple things I'm still waiting on. I'm still waiting on a logo that my friend is designing, so I got to get that, and a couple other things before it's really finished. So look out for that. It should hopefully be up tomorrow. That would be ideal. We'll see how that goes. Don't quote me on that. It's not a promise, but that's what I'm shooting for. So look for the new site tomorrow. I'll post all that on Facebook and Twitter announcements and links to the Facebook page and the website and all that good stuff. I'm looking to do a lot more content. I'm exploring streaming live, me gaming, whether it be StarCraft, Counter-Strike, Team Fortress 2, whatever I happen to be playing. I want to be streaming and have commentary on the games as I play, so I'm looking to get set up on teamliquid.com, and I'm trying to get the software down and become proficient with it so I can stream fluidly. It looks good and everything. Develop a good audience there. That'd be great. That'd be awesome to have a nice little following of viewers for streams, and I can give some commentary and insight into whatever's going on. And then I'm also looking to get like a flip cam or some sort of portable camera that I can record videos for, just to get out of our bubble here, So we'll be trying to get out of here. We'll do some videos on the road whenever I take trips or whatnot. We'll have a nice quality camera to do some recording with, get a tripod. It'll be nice. So I'm exploring a little bit, trying to get some things locked down and bring some really great content to everybody. So that's what's happening on that end. But for this week's topic, we're going to be talking about the benefits of gaming, something largely ignored by basically everybody. Everybody just likes to sort of hate on gaming, whether it be blaming it for like the obesity epidemic in young people, or that whole contributing that stereotype of kids being fat nerds that don't get laid, that have like Cheeto dust on their dicks and whatnot. And it's completely ridiculous. Is some of that true? Absolutely. That's why it's a stereotype, because I'm sure there are some people that fit that. But clearly there are exceptions. Myself would be one. And I have a lot of friends that are exceptions to that as well. Just because you're a gamer and you love video games doesn't mean that you're a ugly-ass virgin that, consumes Doritos and shit all day. And there's a lot of benefits to gaming that no one likes to talk about. I think just for me personally, there's a time in my life where the choice really was, when I was younger, either stay in and play video games, playing Halo. I was amazing at Halo 2. I could have very well played that probably at a pro level. I was so good. It was either play Halo 2 or go out and do drugs. And it really was like video games become my anti-drug. It just became the habit, kept me out of trouble, and I loved it. It gave me something to put a lot of focus and motivation and passion into. That's why I got so good at it. And a lot of people don't realize how good of a tool video games are to keep kids out of trouble. Is it a very sedentary activity? Yeah. Does it contribute to the obesity rates? I don't know. I don't think so. I think those same kids that are sitting around playing video games would just sit around and watch TV if we didn't have video games. So I think obviously it's important. You got to balance the two. That's really the whole focus of the Danimal House, is having a hilarious, entertaining source for introducing the gaming community to lifting and taking care of the bodies, and introducing the strength and conditioning community to gaming and learning about games and how pro gamers and breaking down games, just having an understanding of the whole community. So we're kind of bridging the two here a little bit. But so the benefits of gaming that largely go unnoticed is, one, keeping kids out of trouble, but two, I had a teacher who had a large background in neuroscience, and she was an IT person. She worked for an IT company at a very high level. She was from one of those Eastern European countries, similar to Russia. It was really small, but and she said, at its most basic level, intelligence is essentially the firing of neurons and synapses and your brain cells connecting and communicating with one another. And the faster that can happen, the smarter someone tends to be. That's really intelligence defined in a very basic manner. And so she said the reason why our generations, these young generations, are so much smarter than old generations is because, probably in part due to video games. Because I really cannot think of another activity StarCraft would be a great example. StarCraft 2, where professional StarCraft 2 players operate at 200 to 400 actions per minute. That's insane. I don't know of another activity in all of life. I've never even heard of one that requires that many actions per minute. Now, is a lot of that repetition? Absolutely. And a lot of that comes down to just habits, and it's just constantly going on. It's a lot of repetition. But that doesn't mean they're not thinking about that many things. There are so many things that have to be considered, and so many things have to be executed very well at a professional level in StarCraft that it actually requires 200 to 400 actions per minute at any given point in the game, which is absurd. So when you think how fast someone's brain has to be operating to maintain that level of decision making, it's so impressive, and it's so unappreciated what those guys do. So really, if you think of that basic definition of intelligence, just the connections in your brain and how fast they can be made between the synapses and cells and whatnot, video games are probably the best way to practice that. I absolutely agree with that. And then even in addition to that, there are a lot of parallels, and I'm going to probably mention this a lot in future content coming up on the Danimal House, but there's a lot of parallels between hardcore gaming and weightlifting and like training hard. Like just the same, it's very similar, the amounts of like motivation and the time consumption and the dedication that go into the two different disciplines. Like video games, becoming very good at video games takes a great deal of time. So does lifting. It takes a lot of consistency. It takes a lot of practice. Takes a lot of just mental know-how and familiarity with them as as you get more familiar with them. I call that in video games, call it game sense. We'll probably do whole videos on this, but if you watch like professional Counter-Strike players or StarCraft players or pro gamers in general, once you play at that high of a level, you just have a sense of what is going on by telling just like the smallest little things, by where you see an enemy at a given point with a certain weapon. You know exactly like where he came from and where the other enemies may be, and you can sort of guess, like take an educated guess, and to get into the best positions to sort of attack them. And it's amazing how pros do that, and it's something that's very hard to explain. We're going to do our best to break it down in a future article or a future video, but just that's so unappreciated. Just all the hard work and dedication, all of those same philosophies and principles, if that person were to apply to training, would have a great success in. That's why I think gamers are so apt and able to becoming very physically capable, is because they already have the mental tools to do it. They just need to apply it physically, which is that hard. Is it a big step to go from being very capable intellectually and mentally to being capable physically? Yes, they're worlds apart. They're very different in a sense, but they're still connected. You know, it's that mind-body connection a lot of people talk about. So if you have it mentally, you've already won the battle. You just got to get into the gym and start applying what you already know through your other hobbies like video games. So that's a lot of good foreshadowing for what kind of content we've got coming up here. But I'm just really trying to get things on the road here. It's kind of this episode of the Danimal Weekly, sort of an intermission between the two things. So I hope that gives you an idea of what we're going to be covering. And obviously now let's not neglect showing, I've got a lot of great ideas for rules and great ideas and concepts we're going to apply to the gaming community, help them look the way they want and raise their self-esteem and kind of break the stereotype of being a nerd. So thanks, guys. This was the Danimal Weekly 15. Hope that it gives you a little bit of appreciation for what pro gamers are capable of and sort of the benefits of both physically training and mentally training. Anybody says video games are rotting your brain is full of shit. They don't know what they're talking about. So stay tuned for the site. I'll put up links on Twitter and Facebook as soon as it's done. Appreciate all your support. Peace out, guys. Have a good one.